where heritage and legacy intersects with the fashion world. Homestead Road is founded by fifth-generation wool producer Bridget Brooks, built on the values of versatility, quality, durability, and sustainability. Homestead Road's mission is to educate, connect, and celebrate rural women by creating timeless, modern, and effortless wool pieces that speak to the sensibility and sophistication of women on the land. After having her 4 children, Bridget learnt how important clothing and fashion can make you feel after your body and identity changes. Bridget found a gap in the merino activewear market, as many of the other pieces already on the market were either very technical or pretty plain, which is not what her pieces are about. They are effortless and modern athleisure pieces that can be taken from day to night, task to task, as is the busy life of multitasker rural women. Bridget has given the Absolutely Fabulous listeners and the Ultimate Farm Wife listeners a 40% discount code. Thank you so much, Bridget. That code is KATJA40, so KATJA, KATJA 40, and that expires on the 31st of October 2025. So log on to the website, which is in the show notes below, and get yourself some Homestead Road pieces that will be part of your wardrobe for years to come using the discount code. Excellent. Welcome back to another episode of Absolutely Fabulous. You're here with Khapra and Gillian, and it's episode 51. We've got a few different topics today, but it's mostly covered up by a Q&A session.
Hi, welcome to Absolutely Fabulous. My name is Gillian Fennell, also known as Station Mum 101. I love everything about agriculture, especially the people and especially communicating about what makes Australian ag so special.
And I'm Katja Williams, a beef, cattle and cropping farmer, and I love all things ag, and I'm also known as the Ultimate Farm Wife. Together, we are Absolutely Fabulous, and we are talking all things agriculture beyond the headlines.
And we can't wait to give our opinion to you, and we hope you enjoy it.
So let's get into today's episode. So first, let's start with some chit chat. Gillian, what have you been up to?
Well, if you're looking on that YouTube channel, I am not actually in jail. I am in my bedroom at Mum and Dad's place. So it's a very beige, very bland. I'm not in a motel room, which is something. That's in a couple of days' time. I'll be heading off to Adelaide for some meetings. No, we had some friends down from Queensland. Mum turned 70 on the weekend. I made a big, massive, cake with all the profiteroles and chocolate and mousse and all sorts on it. And my brother's visiting from Queensland, so that was really nice. We had a nice little family time, and then be back into, I don't know, business as usual coming up. Oh, and flat out busy organising the bingo night. But we will get into that later with a big list of who's supporting us and what you will get out of it when you sign up to join us for bingo.
Yeah, that's amazing. We are in full swing of haymaking season. So we have some lucerne down at the moment. We also have some oats down. We had a little bit of excitement earlier in the week with 2 fires being lit in the oat crop while they were being cut. So the second one we were pretty much on top of straight away, which was excellent. The first one was a little bit funny because I was the only one left on farm, so everyone else was out west on our western blocks, and the contractor didn't call me when the fire lit in the crop. What he did do is he called the fire captain directly. And so the fire captain and the first responders for the fire are going past me on the way into town to pick my kids up from school, and they're all flashing their lights at me, and I'm just waving back, being like, oh, that's so unusual. They're all so happy today. And so I pull in at the school, and then I get the alert, of course, for the fire on my phone, being like, your place is on fire. I was like, I just left. But did not see smoke, did not smell smoke. And so off I went to school pickup run. And I was like, well, the fire captain rang. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm doing school pickup.
evacuating.
I'll be back in half an hour. Thanks for looking after the farm for me.
Fires are terrifying, and fires in crops, like, I don't think people have any comprehension as to how fast that stuff will burn, because grain's full of energy, right? So that's why in here in Port Pirie, down the front street where the silos and that are, there's all these big no smoking signs, because that's all stored energy. And if those get a spark in them, like, it'll level half the town. People don't understand how good stuff like that can burn. Yeah. So you're really
very lucky that the contractor was very switched on. He noticed straight away that it had lit, and he did multiple laps around it to contain it while everyone else was responding. But it did burn like a fair part of the field, but not enough to really impact the yield that we'll get at the end of it. So thanks to those guys very, very much for responding while I did school pickup.
Yeah, and good contractors worth their weight in gold, obviously, because, you know, a less experienced contractor or a less conscientious contractor could have just been blithely contracting away and not even realised what had happened until it was too late.
Yes, another reason why it's so important to not have like your earbuds and everything in while you're doing it. Yes, have something on the speaker, but please be paying lots of attention to your own crop, to someone else's crop if you're working on it, and particularly as harvesters coming up, you've got to be paying attention to the machinery. You are on there. Yes, you are on there for big hours, but it just goes, you've got to be paying attention.
And if the predictions are right, we're heading into a really hot spring and summer. So that added extra environmental heat, you know, your bearings are going to get hot, all your moving parts are going to get hot. It doesn't take much to ignite something when it's dry. So, yeah, let's just be super safe. Let's not set anything on fire this year if we can possibly avoid it. And while we're talking about risks and dangerous things, Khapra, there's still some Khapra Beetle infested nappies on the loose that we're trying to track down. And this may well be relevant to some of our listeners because they're trying to track down some nappies that were purchased in Orange. So, and this is you're not in trouble. If you actually purchased these nappies, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not your fault. It's not, but it is sort of your problem. Well, it's our problem and we're going to make it your problem because we need you. If you did purchase little ones, ultra dry nappy pants, walkers, size 5, a 42 pack from Woolworths in Orange, this is what you need to do. Stop using them immediately. Don't throw anything in your rubbish bin. Double seal it in a plastic bag, garbage bag will do, wrap it up nice and tight, put it in your freezer because that's the best and safest way. It keeps everything contained and also the beetles will just go to sleep. If you're worried about the effect on the beetles, they'll have a nice beetle sleepy time and never wake up. As soon as you can, please contact Department of Agriculture. We will put a social tile up with their contact details if you have purchased these nappies. If you know anyone who buys nappies, mention it to them just in case. It might ring a bell because it'll be just terrible to see another pest get into our agricultural system. So, yeah, you're not in trouble. You haven't done anything wrong, but we really need your help to try and track this packet of nappies down, please.
Absolutely. They'll be absolutely detrimental to any stored grain, dried food, anything like that.
Yeah, we cannot impress upon you how important it is to try and track down these nappies and this beetle. Even if you've only got one left, even if your kids warn them, we don't want the dirty ones back. But if you are going to dispose of them, double wrap them up in everything, like, yeah, any dry nappies you have left that you haven't used. You know what, if you've bought nappies, just chuck them in the freezer just in case. It's summertime. Your kid will probably really appreciate having a cool bottom. So,
yeah. And with that, we've got a full question and answer episode. We are absolutely loving that you're sending your questions through. And if this is a format that you would enjoy to do, we might start doing them a fortnight, once a month, something like that. Let us know.
Yeah, I think in the new year, Khapra, I think we're up for a bit of a revamp of the show and our format. So I think one week out of the month of a Q&A session, and we can do, we'll talk about it. So let us know what you want to hear.
So, Gillian, that takes us to the mid of our episode. And this part of the episode is sponsored by Farm Table. So thank you, Farm Table. Farm Table now hosts our podcast page, our landing page. So I will add that in the show notes below for you all to check out. But welcome to Farm Table. Farm Table is a proud independent Australian agricultural knowledge platform, bringing together the most relevant and curated agricultural resources from around the globe. More than that, Farm Table supports industry collaboration, peer-to-peer networking, and functions to build the capacity of individuals and organisations across the entire Australian ag supply chain. With over 3,000 resources, the latest agricultural events, funding opportunities, grants, micro courses and workshops all in one location, Farm Table makes it easier to find the information you need.
Here. But anyway, the first question, subsistence farming, is that like hobby farming or homesteading for self-sufficiency? So this is really interesting. The kids did a school assignment about subsistence farmers, and they asked us what it was. And so the father-in-law replied, oh, well, that's where you just make enough money to sort of keep farming for the next year. And the kids said, oh, well, like us then. So that's all we do. So how many of us believe that we're subsistence farmers? But what it is, we mainly see it in third world countries. So you're a subsistence farmer. They call them smallholders now to try and sort of break the stigma of being a subsistence farmer, because agriculture is what is going to lift these economies out of poverty. It is where you make just enough to feed yourself and a very, very small amount that you can sell or trade or swap or whatever to sort of buy what you need. So you're not really making a profit. You're not getting great big storages in. You're not you're not producing large amounts. You are just subsiding. So I guess some people could choose to identify as subsistence farmers if they wanted to, and there's probably some people that are hobby farmers who do operate in a similar way. They feed themselves first. Anything extra they trade or sell or take to the markets or swap with their neighbour, a bit of bartering here, there and everywhere to get those additional items that they can't produce. And it could be homesteading. So it's whoever you'd want to identify yourself as, but it's really like an economical term. It's not what we like, we call ourselves subsistence farmers as a joke, but it's more as a term to describe a certain economic class, particularly in third world countries. So I hope that has answered that question.
Wonderful. Next question is, Katja, we saw you at the Warren Open Gardens weekend with your kids. You were smiling the whole time, and how do you do that? I left mine at home because I can't handle having them out with me on a day like that. Good question. I think it comes mostly from necessity, because if I don't take them with me, then I can't go, because I am the primary carer of the kids. The more trips we do like that, the easier it does get, because we fall into a little bit of a routine in preparation, and I know what I need to pack as well, just from that time that's been. So when we're driving out to the event that we are going to, I will talk through. I mean, my kids are still only young. They're 5, 4, 2, and 10 months. So the 10-month-old couldn't care less. But for the other kids, it's really important, I've found, for them to know what their expectation is for their behaviour. So I tell them what kind of setting we're going into. I let them know what the rough outline of the day is, because most of the time they won't remember the specifics or the timings, but they will remember that mum has thought about the day, and there are times where we will be able to play and we will be able to not be so formal or constrained. So for the Warren Garden Days, it was a 2-day event out here in Western New South Wales. It was put on to fundraise for one of the Warren schools. Incredible event. On the Friday, I made sure I got the deluxe ticket, because on the Friday, it was a garden tour where I didn't have to drive and think about the properties we were going to. So we jumped on the bus, the kids jumped on the bus with me. They're in air conditioning between the gardens. The gardens were toured and we were with a group of people. So I really love meeting the people who I sit next to on the bus in the group. I also went with a very good friend, Sally, who is an ag fab. Shout out to Sally. Incredible weekend together. So it wasn't just me and the kids. We built a community with the people who were around us. We met and networked with the people who were there, and I had my support person who was Sally. So if I needed to go to the bathroom or anything like that, I had someone who could still watch my kids. I didn't have to try and get them to the bathrooms and that sort of thing just by myself, because that's really hard when you're carrying around a 10-month-old. So outside those bus tours, there was then a nightly workshop with some food. Now, kids do really well with air conditioning, food, and water, and some sort of activity for them to do, especially if you're being asked to sit still and to be quiet. So my kids don't get my phone very often, and I will leave it to the last possible moment where I've run out of options for them to get my phone. If you can feed them little snacks often, that helps as well. They will be a lot more cooperative. So that is sort of the system that I used for Friday. With Saturday, it was a lot of workshops in the morning, and it was a lot for them to sit through. So I think there was 5 workshops in total, which were about 6 hours worth of workshops. So I picked the 4 main ones I wanted to do. I made sure we got there early and they were fed. Sally went in and secured our seats in front of us. I ran the kids on the oval, did nappies, toilet, fed them, watered them, all of that. We came into the hall and they were really good for the first workshop. The second workshop, they were getting restless. So that middle workshop, I didn't attend. We went out and I ran them in the field. We did all of that kind of stuff. The kids have that energy. They've got that energy. They need to get out. Again, feed, water, toilet run, and came back in for the last 2 sessions. So if you're thinking about your kids' attention span and working on that, growing it each time you go out. So the first time you go out with your kids, you also know your kids, but they may not even be able to sit through that first session that first time, and that's okay. You need to work with them for that. Because I drag my kids around absolutely everywhere with me, they're getting used to that. I hope that helps.
Practice. And from an older mum who's been there, done that, and now sort of keeps an eye on, this is part of that sort of it takes a village type thing. And if you want to attend an event without your children because it's your you time and you 100%, if you can find childcare or dad's not busy or whatever, don't feel guilty about going to something by yourself, because 9 times out of 10, kids don't want to go anyway because it's boring. And then they're just going to make trouble. But like Katja said, food, water. And if you don't have kids anymore, do the world a favour. Keep in the bottom of your handbag a couple of Matchbox cars and a notebook and a pen, because I cannot count the number of kids I've entertained at meetings and conferences and sessions. Mum's tearing her hair out. She's really worked up because she thinks everyone's judging her because her kids have had enough of this nonsense. And we as other mums, especially us older mums, sometimes fall into this trap. Stop judging other people and their children. Okay, you don't know what's gone on. You don't know that kid hasn't been up all night with a boogie nose or whatever, and so now they're just tired and fractious, and mum is just trying to do something for her own brain. And don't say, oh, you should stay home if your kids can't be controlled. Don't say that to people. And yeah, there are some naughty little shithead kids, but unless they're allowed out in society and learn how to behave in a nice supportive environment, they're never going to get better. So don't be judgy, just try and be supportive. Always ask mum first if they can do something or say something. Don't just be giving you a stranger. Don't talk to random children, because that could be weird, especially if you're going to let them play with your phone and stuff. I still have like little tiny baby kids games on my phone, because sometimes mums have multiple kids but they've only got one phone and they really want those kids to be quiet. And don't say, And if you don't have kids yet and you're planning, do never, ever say, oh, my children won't be allowed to play on a phone and my children won't have an iPad. Firstly, that's so very judgy of you. And secondly, you don't have kids yet, so you're not really in a position to comment or criticize other people's parenting. So just be a bit open-minded, be a bit supportive, acknowledge the fact that not everyone has access to childcare. They still want to do stuff for themselves. And yeah, keep an eye on if the kid's wandering off into the bushes, don't be afraid to call them back and say, where's your mum and dad? Who's looking after you today? Don't go out there, because, that's how tragedies can happen. Everyone needs to play a part in the raising of a decent society. So don't just walk past, don't judge, don't tut people, don't whisper comments under your breath. Just try and be a helpful, supportive human being.
And don't say to mum, gee, you've got your hands full. She knows. She knows.
Unless it's followed up with, gee, you've got your hands full. Do you want me to rock the pram? Would you like me to carry that baby? I can watch them while you go to the toilet if you like. Unless it's followed up with a direct offer of help. Don't just point out the obvious. Like, because that's spectacularly unhelpful.
Yeah, I think you've got to approach it from the mindset as well as you don't know what that mum has had to get through to be there. And this might be the one thing she has really looked forward to. And she might have organised a babysitter, or dad might have been having the kids, but something's come up last minute and now she's got to take them with her. Like, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes to getting your kids to an event like that. And be helpful or be quiet.
Pretty much that's about the strength of it. And mums, be prepared. Like, prepare for every single circumstance you could possibly imagine. You're going to need food, you're going to need water, you're going to need a blanket, you're going to need fly spray, you're going to need sunscreen. And yes, we're all human, we all forget these things and we all do this. But if you're prepared, you're going to be a lot less stressed as well. So it will take a pressure off you if you think about, okay, what could possibly go wrong, and try and plan for those eventualities as best you can. You can't plan for everything, little tiny first aid kit in the nappy bag with a Band-Aid and a bit of cream, because no doubt they're going to fall over and skin their knee and then it's going to be massive drama. We don't need busting out of big first aid kits at venues and having safety reports and those sorts of things if it's just a minor spill. So yeah, prepare, practice, and be supportive.
Invest in a great backpack. Or your kid's school bag, like whatever works.
And this would be my advice too, if you're going on something like a field days or anything that's out and about, don't take something that you can't afford to lose. Do not take special toys, do not take precious items, because that is just a road to heartache, because there's a very good likelihood it's going to get dropped out of the pram or left at a stand or kicked out of the car. So yeah, and lower the expectations on yourself. Like, your kids can't be perfect all the time, and normal, ordinary people acknowledge that kids are kids. So yeah, and go. Don't let kids hold you back. If other people say something to them, tell them to give me a call. I'll have a chat to them.
Absolutely. Now, Gillian, we had a question. We've got looking for work pants for harvest contract, and Work Health and Safety says that you have to be, what is it, cotton?
Cotton or denim, because they're going to doing a contract at one of the grain receival sites. And I was of no assistance in this because, as you know, Karcher, you and I both mainly work in yoga pants and leggings. And that's obviously a no-no. And so I found a couple of ladies' workwear brands online. And if you're a ladies' workwear brand and would like us to field test your things, especially for fuller figured ladies, Karcher, that's probably our category. I've had a lot of children, and so have you, and I'm a bit older and you're a bit younger, but we're very round in the bottom half and the top half as well. Because what I did notice is that when I went on these, a lot of these are work pants and ladies' work clothes. There are some exceptions, but they're targeted at the young mine workers, the construction workers. So they're young, they're slim, which is great. If that's your body type, that's fine. But there's not a very diverse range for ladies who might not fit that mould. And if you're in any of the online ladies in ag chat groups, it's a very, very common question. I'm a size 16 and I find I keep busting the fork out of my pants, or my thighs rub together and so they wear the insides out of my jeans. What do you recommend? What do you recommend? So we are quite happy to test stuff for you. But if you have recommendations, AgFabs who are listening, about what you wear, send them in and we will put them up as your key recommendations to people about what they can try. Yeah, other than that, because I don't even ride in jeans or anything anymore, I'll just jump on my yoga pants because they don't have that inside seam. You're not going to get chafe. Yeah, you can get like cotton yoga pant looking things, but they look incredibly uncomfortable. So, and a lot of workwear stuff, it says ladies on the label, but it's basically just sized down men's things. So they don't fit in the bust. They don't fit around your belly. They don't fit in the thigh. Yeah. Overalls would probably have to be the worst, trying to get them to fit. But yeah, but I think that's universal. I don't think that's restricted just to ladies. I've never seen a good man in overalls. So
When I was doing a lot of riding, both horses and motorbike work, and I was wearing jeans, I would wear thin stockings underneath to try and stop that friction, to try and stop that rubbing, and it would work. I think one of the questions we also came through was, are jeans really hot to work in? To a degree, but it's one of those things when if you're working big hours, long days, and for a long duration of time, then jeans are good. You get over the heat a little bit because what's hotter than jeans and a long sleeve shirt is going to be sunburn. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, wear the long pants, whether they're your jeans or your leggings, wear the long sleeve shirts and the hats and the kerchiefs, because you're going to be more uncomfortable and a lot hotter if you get that sunburn over wearing that. And there's ways that you can make those outfits cooler. So there are work shirts now that do have mesh down the side, so they're more breathable. I wet my kerchief. It looks horrible once you've done yard work or some mustering because it just cakes in dirt.
brown.
Yeah, but I've got a work pack. I take a bag with me everywhere because I've got to have one for the kids for nappies and change their clothes and things anyway. So I will always have two kerchiefs. One will be wet and I just take it in a Ziploc bag and I will wash it every night. And the other one will be dry, and you can interchange those depending on it, because I'm quite heat sensitive. So if I do get to a certain heat point, my body just goes, nope, you're done. So yeah, doing things like that will really cool it down. You can get little neckties that have water beads in it, so you can soak them in ice cold water or pop them in your esky. So when you do stop for smoko or lunch, then you can grab those out of your esky and wrap them around your neck. Again, probably put those in a Ziploc bag rather than just on the ice.
It depends on how keen you are on mess and that sort of stuff. And if you don't think of it, don't beat yourself up out of it. And I think this is one thing about our industry, for the women especially. You go on Instagram, especially if you're a young girl, and we'll get to some questions from a young girl in a minute. And you go, oh, well, I have to wear the Western jeans with the boot cut and the kerchief and the shirt. And some of that is grounded in common sense. Yes, you will get used to working in jeans. It'll take a while. But an old mate of ours said, because when we moved down from Queensland, we were short sleeves and shorts all the time. And old mate had lived in the desert his whole life, and he wore jeans and long sleeve shirt every day. And we said, don't you get hot? He said, well, it's cooler in the shade.
Yeah.
And so that was his philosophy. So his legs and I can tell you from experience of doing yard work in summer, the backs of my legs, if I wear shorts, get so burnt that I cannot sit down or put on pants the next day. So preventative. And you can get lighter weight fabric shirts and all those sorts of things. If you don't like wearing a kerchief, don't. I button mine up to the top button and pop my colour up because I can't stand that feeling of something, sort of around here. I roll my sleeves right down. I don't button them up, but I roll them down so they cover my hands. There's ladies' gloves products, all those sorts of things. But don't get caught up in the brand and type of jeans. If I do have to wear work jeans, mine are usually from Target. They're stretch. Don't bundle yourself up into some hard, because I do have a pair of old-fashioned high-rise denim Wranglers. They will suck you in like no underwear ever will. The old-fashioned from the 70s have to lay down on the bed to zip them up with a coat hanger style. Don't put yourself in a denim prison, because you will just be cranky and all day. And being women, we bloat, we go up, we go down with our cycles, all that sort of thing. You're going to drink so much water. If you're worried about your pants being too tight, get them a size bigger and wear a belt. Yep. Because no one, you will be outrageously uncomfortable, being squeezed around the middle all day. And wear good knickers underneath. Yep. That will save you a lot of health problems. You're at work. If you like to wear a G-string, that's on you. I can't agree with you, but whatever, your own personal choice. But if you're in the hot, dirty thing, I just cannot imagine anything worse than being flossed all day up the bum crack. They're good, supportive, decent cotton knickers. You've got to look after your lady health. It's not a fashion show. Can be if you want it to be. If that's your vibe, get right into it. But look after your comfort and your health first. So, yeah, if you've got any recommendations for your go-to workwear, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question, it says, "Hi ladies, new listener. I guess that makes me a new ag fab. I came across your podcast when Googling women in agriculture jobs, and one of your episodes from last year was recommended by search. My daughter is about to sit her year 12 exam. She wants to do a year up north and has applied to many stations in the Northern Territory. She's my only child and I want to go and visit while I'm up there. What's the etiquette of visiting a station? And when she gets the job, my plan is to ask the station when we can go to visit, basically, and plan in advance. But what's our other tips?"
Right. So this is an interesting one because this is a lot of different things are going to come into play here. One is the type of station that she may eventually get a job on. There's family owned and there's corporates, and then there's those in between, and they will all have different policies about who visits and when and where you can stay and all those sorts of things. Also, she's your only child and she's going a long way away and she might be a little bit sad and lonely. So if you turn up there in the first couple of weeks or even the first couple of months of her getting her job, it might be like, "I don't want to be here anymore, Mummy, take me home." But if she's really thriving, you don't want to disrupt that. So talk to your daughter about it, about whether she even wants you. "Oh, look out, Karcher's getting lunch. On a smoker, a bit of cake. That's nice.
Give me a cake." Thank you. Your lunch is the steak on the table with the fly net on it.
That's good to hear that it's got a fly net on it. So, yeah, talk to your daughter about whether she even wants you there, because she might be spreading her wings for the first time and no one really wants their mummy to cramp their style. And I understand, I've got kids myself, and, you send them off somewhere far away for the very first time. You want to make sure they're safe. You want to make sure they're everything. So when she does get a job, first thing to ask is, can I come and visit? Yeah. Not when can I, need to ask if you can. And it may well be that they say, "Well, we don't have the capacity to host you here because it's likely she'll be in single person's accommodation," which is basically just a room and a shared bathroom. All different places have different setups, but there might not be a place for you to stay. It may well be that you just end up, if you do want to go up into the vicinity to see, that you end up staying in a town near the station and she spends the weekend with you, and you say, "Can I come and visit for the day?" And if it's on the weekend, if she's not working, then they may say yes, or they may say we don't allow it because of X, Y, and Z, and you just have to respect that. Or they may say, "Well, she's going to be in the stock camp, so you can come if you want, but she's going to be 200 kilometres away, and working 7 days a week for this period of time." If they say yes, you can come and visit, say, "Right, when is the best time for me to come?" Look at all those sorts of things, and you may feel more comfortable not staying on station. And it all depends. Different environments, different sort of cultures. Sometimes they welcome the parents of the young people coming in and getting to know the crew and eating at the mess hall and all that sort of stuff. But others, they don't operate like that, and you have to respect that. It may well be that there's a big social event on at that time that you could go and stay. But again, daughter might not want you there cramping her style. But yeah, there's lots of different things. But the very first thing, if you are concerned and you want to visit your daughter, ask, "May I?" And then they will say, "Yes, we allow it. No, we don't. And they will have had this question before. It won't come out of the blue to them. So just say, "May I?" And they will give you more details, or they say yes or no, and then ask them what the best time to come is, because they've employed young people from a long way away before. They will know the risks around homesickness and all that sort of stuff. And I know you want the best for your daughter. You don't want to disrupt her life and all those sorts of things, but you care about her, so you want to see her in her work environment and make sure she's safe and happy. So I can very easily see both sides of it, and both sides are equally valid. But if you can't get up there to see her, make sure you make her FaceTime you. My kids are supposed to call me every weekend, but they don't. I still try to talk to my mum every Sunday. That's a habit I got into when I was at boarding school, and with FaceTime and those sorts of things, it's gotten a lot easier. So you might not be able to physically visit her, but you can get a virtual tour of the station and that sort of thing. So good luck to you and good luck to your daughter. I hope she gets a good crew, and I hope she has a great time. And tell her to download the podcast, because we've got a lot of it handy advice for young people moving up to stations and going into the agricultural workforce for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the station will also know the conductivity that they have, so they'll be able to help organize that connection. And you covered that a little bit, but definitely ask, what service they're on and how you can facilitate those videos, because sometimes the reception is few and far between, and sometimes it does mean that they're going to have to set up some sort of Zoom call at the homestead or something for them.
Yeah, and if they're out in the stock camp, they may not be accessible because they may only have satellite for emergencies, those sorts of things. So yeah, but if you're in doubt, if at any time you get a whiff of your daughter not being safe, do not hesitate to ask her. If you get a bad feeling about she's made some comments or whatever, just ask her straight up. Is there anything going on? And I don't want to encourage people to be interfering parents and those sorts of things, but we don't want to see young people put at risk either, and trying to tough out a situation that might be unsafe for them. It's not fair on them. It's definitely not fair on you. And also, management may not be aware that it's happening. So, yeah, be prepared that she might not like it, because it's not for everyone. But also, it's a really good opportunity to build resilience, independence, and the opportunity of a lifetime to do things that not everyone else in Australia, in the world, has even been able to do. So I hope she has a good time.
And good luck with her HSC exams. I believe English and some of the other main core units were done last week, so good luck for the rest of her units.
Yeah, I forget about that, because school, this is hard. I was really good at school, but I didn't take it very seriously because I never had to really try. And so I forget that some people take it really seriously and get really invested in it. So if that's what you do, good luck. Work hard, get the result you want. Don't be sad if you don't get the result you want, because you could always be like me and live in the middle of nowhere and have a podcast, make no money, have the time of your life.
I was like, where's this going, Gillian? And Gillian, you had the next question come through specifically for you. It was in regards to last week's episode when we were talking about your horses, when you ran them back in and you had some foals, and you made a question about brumbies. So can you tell us a bit more about brumbies for those who are unfamiliar with them, or who may think of, those American Brumby movies growing up? What's the damage that they do on station? How do you control them? And I'm glad they thought it must be a good looking Brumby, because I couldn't remember what a foal was called. The foals look great.
We'll see what the foals turn into, because this is the problem when you have we try not to have mares, but unfortunately through circumstances we've had several over the years, and now we have a little herd of very, very useless horses that we care for and look after but do nothing with, because we don't work stock with horses. They're just glorified pets, and spend far too much time and energy on them for something that's completely useless and worthless. But anyway, so bit of history about our station. Back in the day, it was bought by a bloke called Jim Robb, who was a horse buyer in the First World War. And then he saw an opportunity there through his work with the Australian, well, it was the British Army then, Australian Allied Infantry and all those sorts of things, to breed and supply horses mainly to India. So he bought Lamina because he looked at Lamina and he went, do you know what this is like? This is really like the border country between India and Afghanistan. So if you've ever wondered what my landscape's like, picture Afghanistan, and you've probably got a really good picture of what my place looks like, but with more grass and more trees, because we don't have goats, so they haven't eaten everything. So he decided he was going to breed horses, and he bred all sorts of horses there. He bought some really expensive stallions in. and he bred cart horses, polo horses, all sorts of horses, you know, big draft horses, gun horses. He had horses pulling trams down in Adelaide, all this sort of stuff. He was a big time horse breeder. And then Second World War rolled around and he kept providing horses to the army, obviously, and mainly to the Indian Army because it was the British Army, really, but they called it the Indian Army. So he shipped a lot of horses over there. Then when after Second World War, sort of mid-Second World War, when they decided horses were just really too challenging and now we have motor vehicles, he lost all his contracts. No one was really interested in horses anymore. He shot a lot, which broke his heart because I've read his biography. And the rest that he couldn't capture or shoot or whatever just sort of were left to repopulate. And they make very handy stock horses, so you always had a ready supply of stock horses. Where we are now, though, is that we have far, far too many horses, and they do an incredible amount of environmental damage. They shit in big piles for a start, which sort of, if you have anything to do with, if you're a gardener, if you know anything at all about fresh horse shit, it will burn everything. So they piles as big as a car, right? And because stallions do what they do and they just all shit in one pile. So that is just burning away all vegetation. Then it rains and all those nutrients sort of leach out into the surrounding, and that's burning big patches in your pasture and all those sorts of things. They cut heavy tracks, not so much, like I know cattle cut tracks and that as well, but we've got far too many horses. We do control of them, so we will shoot them. We sometimes participate in state organised controls, which is a massive aerial shoot, and we will shoot camels and horses because, again, we just have far too many. And it's not that we enjoy it. It's not that we're quite happy to kill things. We look at them. It's really hard for me, especially because I love horses, but there's too many of them and they don't belong there. And if we're going to have a resilient, profitable cattle grazing thing, we cannot also be running a giant horse farm. So they have to be controlled at the very least, if not removed. So yeah, that's what we do with the horses. And occasionally a Brumby stallion will jump the fence and we end up with foals. And so our little herd keeps growing. So if you're a horse breaker and you want to come and break some horses in, I can offer you some free horses, as many as you want. I'll give you a place to stay and I'll feed you and you can break in as many horses as you want and take them with you. I don't care, because I might be biased, but I think we've got some of the best looking Brumbies in Australia. So yeah, that's what we do with the wild horses. And that's not unique. That's across every sort of extensive, pastoral operation. And of course, then you get the other thing is like people are really, really attached to Brumbies because of the connection to the Anzacs, and World War I and all those sorts of things. And especially around the Snowy Mountains, man from Snowy River, they get very, very attached to the Brumbies, but they don't belong in a national park. If you want to run Brumbies on your place, go your hardest, manage them properly, minimise the environmental damage, but you can't get upset when they're shooting them in a national park because they don't belong there. Okay, that's my view. I know I'll cop heat for it. I don't care. We shoot horses. We don't like it, but that's managing your land, like so many other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Going on to a more positive topic, let's talk about the bingo night. Gillian, you have done an incredible job getting together the prizes for the bingo night. Tickets are still on sale, guys. We'd love for you to come along. It is fundraising for the Harvest Her Power Conference, which is in February. So, Gillian, remind us the dates, the times, and what gifts you have for the bingo night.
Right. So this is going to be so great. If you want to do Christmas shopping, right, buy a bingo ticket, because you are going to get some very exclusive and very hefty discounts, right, to some awesome places. And it's not just for ladies. Like, so I didn't work hard. I dicked around on the internet essentially, and any of the sponsors who are listening to this will know it's been a bit haphazard with me following up and whatever, but we've gotten there in the end. The thank you tiles are going out this week. You will see them pop up on your socials. We have exclusive discount codes for La Lyra Skin, which is a 60% discount off their price. Plus, they are giving us a Simply Hydrating bundle package valued at $105, included postage. So you win, it turns up on your doorstep. You don't need to organise anything else. So that is an amazing thing. And that's from Rochelle. She is one of my online friends. She's from Melbourne. Don't hold that against her. She is so supportive of Australian agriculture, top chick. So get in there and support that. But I will not give out the discount codes until you buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So if you don't buy a ticket, you don't get the exclusive discount codes and you will miss out. So the next one we've got is kitchen language. This is one of my personal favorites. So they have kitchenwares like tea towels, oven mitts, stubby holders, cups, aprons with swear words on them. And they're super cool. The extra bonus of that, so you get you can win a $50 voucher. You get 10% off with your exclusive code. Plus, because we are an affiliate partner, anything you spend at Kitchen Language, we get 10% off direct to the Harvest Her Power conference. So the more you spend, the more you support the conference. So get in there, support a small Australian business. The lady who runs that is an ex-teacher, and I can understand why she swears so much, because teaching is not an easy job. So then we have Untainted Tallow. We've got a $50 voucher from them as one of our prizes. If you're right into that homesteading, no chemicals vibe, get around the tallow. It's been touted as that's Karcha's thing. I knew she'd appreciate that one. So yeah, you can win a $50 voucher. Bridget from Homestead Road has given us a $250 voucher for the most beautiful merino wear that's just gorgeous. And we still have a discount code with Homestead Road. So it's Karcha 40 or something like that. That a discount code for them. So yeah, that's ongoing. You don't have to buy a ticket to use that one, but please get around Bridget because she is over there in WA doing amazing work. We have a $100 voucher from Bird's Nest. If you know what, if it's shopped there before, you know the range and beautiful clothing that they have. Designed for women's bodies. They've got all different brands. They have their own in-house brands that actually just fit and just work with our lifestyles. They're very easy. We have another one from Soda Smith. So these are exclusive grown-up cordials and soft drinks. If you don't want to drink alcohol, which is fine, a lot of us don't want to do that regularly. If you do, I don't care. That's your own business. But Soda Smith have these things. So you will get an exclusive discount code, which will give you $20 off and free shipping. So get around that. Calgold, they do workwear for mainly people in the equestrian industry. We've got a $20 voucher from them. Spiker, we get a 10% exclusive discount code plus a $100 voucher up for grabs. In Two Minds Wine, we've got, so that's if you do fancy having a glass of wine while you're bingoing. Some people might enjoy that relaxing aspect. That will give you an exclusive discount code when you purchase your ticket. Red Tractor Designs, we know them, we love them, they do beautiful things. We are getting a $30 voucher from them, and they are a small regional business and artist, so support them as well. Now this, if you want to do Christmas shopping, Ugly Fish Sunglasses have giving us a 20% exclusive discount, and they make some of the toughest like work sunglasses. They're polarized, they've got all different sorts, they're designed to fit under bike helmets. You know, they're Australian. Get around them as well. 20% exclusive discount code when you buy your bingo ticket. Long-time supporters of the show, and we're long-time supporters of them because we think they're mad for giving up cattle and going into macadamias. Gondwana Macadamias are giving us a $50 voucher. They make some beautiful things as well. Little Farmers Store, if you're going to do Christmas shopping for kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews or any children in your life, they have got beautiful Australian agricultural focus books, toys, models, all of that sorts of things. So we're getting an exclusive discount code from them. Salty Vibes, another very sweary lady that I love that makes hand blends, bath salts and essential oils and magnesium sprays and all that sort of stuff. We're a $50 voucher from them. Eden Seeds, who do this is for you, Karcha. I thought you'd appreciate this. They sell heirloom seeds, non-GMO, all that sort of stuff. So if you want to start a garden and then harvest your own seeds, Eden are giving us some packages and a discount. And Apple Tree Flat, you like to wear a kerchief and those sorts of things, we're getting a $20 voucher and some kerchiefs from them as well. So I think I have finally tracked down everyone. If I've missed anyone, don't worry, I'll catch up with you and make you sponsor the conference. But please keep an eye on the socials. Buy your bingo ticket. You will get your full instructions and all your discount codes in your sign-up email, which won't come out until 2 or 3 days before the event. So don't panic if you don't get an email immediately when you buy the ticket. It'll come out 2 or 3 days before the event so it doesn't get lost in your inbox, okay? Buy your tickets, $20. If you can't make it, don't worry about it. You've just made a $20 donation to the Harvest Her Power Conference, and you will be help supporting women. You will be helping supporting women with kids, and you will be help putting on a great conference that everyone from agriculture is invited to attend and enjoy. And yeah, so that's what we've got, Karcha. We are doing great big things. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything
And
else?
so the timings for the event will be on our social media pages. Gillian's been rotating. It's a virtual bingo night. It is Tuesday, the 28th of October, and Gillian has broken down all the times for you, so you do not have to think about it. So it is 7:30 in New South Wales, ACT, Victoria, and Tasmania. It is 7 p.m. in South Australia, 6:30 Queensland, 6 Northern Territory, and 4:30 WA. So all of that is broken down on the information tile over on our page. So we don't have to think about it. And it is all one big event. So you will be meeting people from all over Australia at that event, many who have been to the conference before, some whose first time it will be at the conference. So you can ask them questions about what it's going to be like. You can meet people before you get there. Great opportunity and some incredible prizes as Gillian's just gone through.
And you don't have to be a regional or rural woman if you don't, you know, anyone can participate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to leave the comfort of your own home. You don't have to have your camera on. If you don't want to, go in your jammies. I probably will. If I get around to actually having a bath before then, I'll probably have my headphones in while I'm cooking tea while attending bingo. But anyway, it's very flexible, no stress. It's going to be great fun. It's very relaxed. There's a chance to meet and network and, you know, hopefully get to meet some people to make you feel a bit more comfortable in our community and, you know, just have fun and support a good cause.
And we've got a fantastic bingo collar. It's going to be absolutely incredible. A reminder, it is an over 18 event because of some of the calls and language that will be used in the event.
Yeah, this is for grown-ups, like tiny babies. If they don't understand the spoken word yet, have them on your lap for sure. Toddlers who might be inclined to repeat a bad word if they hear one, probably not a great idea. Put your headphones on.
Yeah, I was going to say, put your headphones in.
But yeah, don't worry about what they might see on the screen. That's all going to be very PG, very safe. But it's the actual bingo calls. They're going to be a little bit risque. Our bingo host, Alistair, is a very outrageous, flamboyant character. I will be posting some of his things in the coming week, so you can get a bit of a feel for the vibe of how funny it's going to be. You know, don't take anything too seriously. We're not a bingo association. This is just a fundraising event. If you want to get really serious about bingo, maybe go to the RSL or something. We're not for you. But if you want to win great prizes, get exclusive discount codes to small regional businesses, and, you know, come along, pay your $20. It'll be great.
Absolutely. And that's us for this week. So we look forward to seeing you next week and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Where heritage and legacy intersects with the fashion world. Homestead Road is founded by fifth-generation wool producer Bridget Brooks, built on the values of versatility, quality, durability, and sustainability. Homestead Road's mission is to educate, connect, and celebrate rural women by creating timeless, modern, and effortless wool pieces that speak to the sensibility and sophistication of women on the land. After having her 4 children, Bridget learnt how important clothing and fashion can make you feel after your body and identity changes. Bridget found a gap in the merino activewear market, as many of the other pieces already on the market were either very technical or pretty plain, which is not what her pieces are about. They are effortless and modern athleisure pieces that can be taken from day to night, task to task, as is the busy life of multitasker rural women. Bridget has given the absolutely fabulous listeners and the ultimate farm wife listeners a 40% discount code. Thank you so much, Bridget. That code is KATJA40, so KATJA, KATJA 40, and that expires on the 31st of October 2025. So log on to the website, which is in the show notes below, and get yourself some Homestead Road pieces that will be part of your wardrobe for years to come using the discount code.